Okay, people, so we gotta talk about something serious because it seems like Shonen Jump is trying to get you jammed up, fam. Based on this survey, a lot of cats is not feeling that Shonen Jump looks like they trying to get you, you know what I'm saying, with the chain gang. And that's not good, so I had to come in here and tell you guys what's going on. But we got a slew of stuff between updates incoming for Chainsaw Man 2. A certain manga that is humongous that a lot of people have been dying to see. Hey, when is it gonna get an anime? It's about to get an anime. We gotta talk about that. We got some last Airbender huge freaking news. There's just so much going on in this episode of ForneverWorld, the only news source that provides anything and everything anime and manga related. We don't bore you. We get into it. Let's do it.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, before we go any further, please hit that subscribe and that bell to get all notifications. YouTube, yada, yada, yada. I need you to do those things for me. I'd appreciate immensely. No, seriously, like, it would help this channel to keep on growing if you would just do that quick thing. Now, with that being said, we got to start this one off with wow. Wow. A lot of people hit me up about this and was like, yo, Fornev, you got to report on this. You got to stop this from happening to our people because, yeah, Shonen Jump has been slinging this survey around, which, you know, they try to get results for different things. They try to get numbers, they try to get analytics to see which way to go, yada yada. That's totally fine. You want to see, hey, what manga people are into, what type of manga they want to read, how old they are. You know, this is the gathering data era that we're in with all these companies where they're constantly trying to get data to see where to go next. However, this one, a lot of people feel like Shonen Jump just went way too far because in their recent survey they asked a couple of questions that feel very uncomfortable. For starters, do you read manga on pirate sites? And it says you could put, I use them often, I use them occasionally, I have hardly used them, I have never used them. And then the second question is, please answer if you answered use them often or use them occasionally. In question 4, what is the name of the pirate site? And all for I'm like, well, for starters, do you read manga on pirate sites? Like, you're basically asking them to admit to guilt to things that, yeah, technically, you know, people aren't supposed to be pirating and whatnot. So already the first question, do you read them on manga pirate sites? Like, dog, I don't care what you do, I'm telling you right now, mark it as I've never used them, just period. Like, you got to make sure you protect your assets, if you know what I'm saying. Mark it as I have never used them, because they are bugging out asking these questions to all these people. Like, why are you asking these questions? I get it, they're gonna masquerade it with the second question of, hey, which pirate sites? They're basically trying to see how many people are using pirate sites and which ones are they using, so they could get a grasp of who they got to attack next. But then on top of that, there's still implications there, and it's just kind of very strange of asking people that read manga, hello, hey, did you break the law? Like, are you breaking the law? Let us know. And I'm just here like, what why are they asking that? Like I said, I get what they're going to respond with, but I had to stress that this is very, very like, no. Do you see movie fans asking like, yo, dog, what torrent sites are you torrenting your movies from? Like, yo, where you copying your butt from? Like, these are just questions that, yo, you know what I'm saying? You don't answer on surveys, and you don't ask on surveys either, because it's a little bit too personal, mate. And I wouldn't be me if I didn't point this one out to say Shonen Jump is bugging. They sipping on that Kool-Aid. Anybody that is reading this or watching this video or reading this survey, don't do yourself dirty, and don't be also, you know what I'm saying, don't be diming people out and be snitching when it comes to the manga sites, dog, because you know they're gonna take it down, and then you're gonna be like, why did I tell them where I read my manga? However, in all fairness, because I am fair, I will say that especially when it comes to Jump titles, there's damn near next to no reason not to just get the officials at this point. I'm not endorsed by them, they don't pay me money, they don't rock with me like that, they don't rock with your boy, the manga and anime god of the universe, you know what I'm saying? They don't rock with it or whatever. But at the end of the day, I still gotta say, like, yo, the Shonen Jump thing is mad cheap. It's not that much money at all. You get access to a wide variety of stuff. Sure, there's going to be the people, but what about the things that weren't licensed? Then, you know, you do what you will with that. But I'm saying for the stuff that, like, One Piece, Bleach, all the stuff that you could think of off the top of your head, they got it all in more on the officials, and it's dirt cheap. There's really no reason to go outside of the means when it comes to certain manga. But of course, there's a bunch of titles that at the end of the day, there's just not available on legal sites, and that's where the gray area comes in of like, yo, so basically honestly, if it never gets licensed, you shouldn't ever be able to read it or experience it in life. And there's some people out there that'll say, yeah, no, you shouldn't be able to. It's not your right. And to that I say, come aboard and bring along all your piracy. Together we gon' read the shit that they telling us not to. There's always room for more manga if we gotta pirate it. I say, do things legit. But if not, yeah, you already know. Yo, dog, we bring into musicals out here on Forever News. Where they do that at, dog? This is a special show right here. Yeah, people, just wanted to give you a heads up if you was on the Shonen Jump surveys or you know anybody that likes to answer those bad boys. Be cautious, lad. Be cautious at the very least. Next up, let's jump into something that got a lot of people going wild. We always debate whether or not it's anime because at the end of the day, it was made by Westerners, but I believe they use Japanese studios. Like, I know Studio Pierrot for a fact did Legend of Korra. I can't recall if they did the original Avatar or not, but the big news I got everybody talking is that there's 3 Avatar The Last Airbender films that are coming, animated films, and they're going to be like, they have dates and they have characters that are going to be focused in on. Let's read so we got more info. Report: Avatar The Last Airbender film gets tentative release windows. The 3 upcoming animated films based on Avatar The Last Airbender and Avatar The Legend of Korra have reportedly received release date windows, which probably means they just barely inked the deal or some shit, I'd imagine. Nickelodeon Animation recently announced that a trilogy of Avatar The Last Airbender feature films were in the works. The latest news about plans for the movies was shared by the unofficial website Avatar News, which emphasizes that although the reports come from reliable sources, release dates are often subject to change and no authorized announcements have yet been made. At this time, however, the films are said to be scheduled for release as follows: in 2024, 2025, and 2026 respectively. The first of the 3 movies is reported to focus on Avatar Kyoshi, a character who was frequently referenced in the original Avatar The Last Airbender series, but who lived long before its setting, meaning that Kyoshi's film is likely to be a prequel. That sounds very exciting. I love stuff like that. I always say, and I know people are going to be like, what? Why would you even think about that? But I always think a really cool Dragon Ball prequel would be Bardock's father. I want to know about who the hell was Bardock's father. There's so many endless possibilities. Prequels like that, you could do damn near anything you can think of and do it interestingly, because the world is, yes, technically the world that you love, but it's at a different time period, so things are going to be different. So right there, that is a very awesome way to start things off. I know there's probably going to be some people that would be like, no, I wanted to see Aang when he was older, or go back to the Legend of Korra. What's this? I think that this is a breath of fresh air and a great way to kick things off. The second of the upcoming movies, tentatively expected to be released a year after the first, will spotlight the character Zuko, according to Avatar News' previous report. Zuko, a young prince from the antagonistic Fire Nation, was a lead in the original series who was introduced as a villain, but gradually redeemed, becoming one of the adventure's greatest heroes as well as a fan favorite, which, if you ever watched Magi, it's like, yo, that's Hakuryu. Well, Hakuryu came after the fact. Let me not try and shit on, Avatar and stuff like that. But yeah, if you ever seen Hakuryu and you don't know nothing about Avatar Last Airbender, Hakuryu, there you go. And finally, the 3rd animated feature has just been reported to be set in the era of Korra, the main character of Avatar's sequel series, The Legend of Korra. Although it's not yet known if the movie will center Korra as its main character, the timeline suggests that the trilogy is meant to encompass 3 different points in Avatar's history, so that 3rd will be set farthest in the future of the fantasy universe. And I'll be honest, of the 3 of them, probably the Korra related one I'm not too fond of. Maybe if they do it like, yo, when Korra is already an old lady and her kids, I guess that could be something, but I wasn't the biggest Korra fan, if I'm being honest with you. I think of the 3 of them, for me personally, the one I'm most excited about, oddly enough, is probably the first one. I know probably most people are like, yo, dog, the Zuko one. That's probably going to be the best one, maybe, because, that's the one that fans are awaiting the most, I'd imagine. But I'm more so excited for the prequel one. Let's do some things that we don't know. We've referenced it and all of this jazz. Let's see exactly what was going on in that era. Let's see how awesome Kyoshi was. And just in general, let's do something fresh. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm excited for. But definitely let me know, of the 3 films, which I want to say it's the Kyoshi one is 2024, the Zuko one 2025, and the Korra one 2026. Which one are you most excited for? Again, I'm going to have to roll with the Kyoshi one. And either way, it's just really dope, considering I think they're making that new live action that the original creators walked out of and stuff like that and said, no, we're not doing that. I'm probably going to ignore that and wait for these animated films films because, yeah, y'all remember that first Avatar live action Airbender thingy-majig, whatever you want to call it. But we gotta wait and see. Either way, 3 Avatar Last Airbender universe set films. Pretty freaking exciting, especially for fans that thought like, yo, it's done after Korra. Yeah, we're getting more. Next, this is a pretty big one. I know a lot of people are very excited about this. We got more info on the upcoming Trigun anime that, you know, in case you ain't here, that they're doing a Trigun anime. But this one, it makes me wonder how this is going to work out. Like, this could go either way because from my understanding, it's going to heavily rely on CGI. And the original Trigun anime, despite the fact that it isn't a faithful adaptation to the manga, it is a classic. It is amazing, and it's just the Trigun everybody knew in 2D animation. Well, according to this, Trigun Stampede is a new series based on the classic anime and manga. Toho and Crunchyroll have announced Trigun Stampede, a new series arriving in 2023 that is based on the beloved classic anime and manga Trigun. Trigun Stampede is being produced by Beastars, Godzilla Singular Point, and Land of Lustrious Studio Orange with an all-new staff and cast, and Crunchyroll will be simulcasting the new anime from Japan in more than 200 countries around the world. And based off the one image that we got right here, it looks sick as hell. I ain't gonna lie. Like, you just see Vash on like a mountainside or whatnot. But the fact that it's Studio Orange, they're infamous for Beastars, which is a CG 3D composited anime. And while that works very well for Beastars because those are all like, you know, humanoid animals essentially, it's not real people, CG is always a risky thing, especially for a TV series, especially that, and I'm not trying to throw shade at Crunchyroll, but you know, Crunchyroll hasn't had the best track record with some of their anime. They're teaming up with Studio Orange, so that could be a good thing, but I don't know. If it's a CG 3D thing, which again, I don't believe it's been confirmed, all we have is that image of like Vash on a mountainside. And it says here, more info on Trigun Stampede will be shared at Anime Expo 2022, Saturday, July 2nd at 8 p.m. So I'll keep my ears pierced for, you know, any updates on what's going to happen. They said, we called Vash one of the greatest anime characters of all time, saying, although Vash is often portrayed as a childish goofball, in reality, he's a very complex and tortured character who is doing his best to save people who never even know what he's done for them. And I'll be honest with you, I am going to watch this one. I'm going to give it a shot. Again, we don't know for sure, so let me stress that. I don't know 100% that it's going to be CG 3D, but Studio Orange's involvement and the people involved is what really leads it to believe that it's going to be that way. If it is, it could be either way. It almost feels like we're being forced. I'm going to just keep it a buck with you. It feels like we're being forced to accept that a lot of stuff is going to be 3D CG, and I feel like it's unfair that I'm throwing this conversation, so I'll leave it brief because we don't know again that Trigun Stampede is going to be 3D CG, but I feel like we're being forced into like, yo, if you like anime and manga, you're going to have to get with this because this is the future. I genuinely feel that. I feel like that's what they're telling us with stuff like this, if this is indeed 3D CG. You know, the Dragon Ball superhero stuff, it's like little by little, it is what it is, and accept it, or I don't know, go rewatch the old Trigun that doesn't technically finish the story. Yeah, people, Trigun Stampede coming from Studio Orange should be arriving in Crunchyroll 2023. We'll see. Okay, people, let's switch gears a little bit now. Let's talk a little Tokyo Revengers. It's been so dry for Tokyo Revengers. In fact, I've noticed it's so crazy how Tokyo Revengers had such a crazy rise, and between the West and even Japan at this particular point, I've seen a massive dip in popularity. And not even that, people just genuinely has started to really dislike the series. There's a lot of people that say they can't even get into it, which always really shocks me. Like, I'm always like, huh, you don't like it? Let me know, for starters. If you don't like Tokyo Revengers, no judgment. At the end of the day, you know, you like what you like, you don't like what you don't like, period. If you're not a fan of it and you can't get into it, let me know why. I'm very curious about that, because for me, Tokyo Revengers, I was a faithful watcher of the anime every single week. I couldn't miss it. And to give you an idea of what I loved about Tokyo Revengers was that there was time travel in it, the idea of being able to rescue people that you love using time travel, all of that good stuff, the nostalgia of the dumb shit that you did as a teenager and thinking back at it, like, that's what I loved from it. But here we got Tokyo Revengers' Christmas Showdown arc is scheduled for January 2023. So the winter season of anime, the upcoming winter season of anime, we can expect a return of Tokyo Revengers. I'm gonna guess 12 more episodes. It'll be fire to get 25, but considering now they're doing it like arc based of like, yo, the Christmas Showdown arc is coming, that's probably gonna be like a 12er, maybe even I could see it being a 10er, because they're just like at this point cutting down the amount of episodes. But if it's quality episodes, if the art and animation is just on 1,000, I'm fine with that. Let's get 12 here and there of highly done, high budgeted, all of that good stuff animation, so that way we could be like, oh, because just imagine if it gets like even close to a Mappa Studios or a Studio Ufotable type of adaptation for this one. It might turn some people around. They might be like, oh man, it really does look great, huh? We're in the era where art and animation reigns supreme. You got beautiful art and animation, you can grab some eyeballs, you got great great story on top of that, now you're cooking. But yeah, people, for those that wanted more Tokyo Revengers anime, Christmas Showdown arc is coming January 2023. I'm excited. For the most part, I'm just with the manga. I kind of put the manga on pause. I'm gonna wait for the manga to end. I think I'm gonna stick from now on with the anime, even though I've read a ridiculous amount of stuff that God knows when the entire adaptation is gonna happen for Tokyo Revengers of all the manga shit that I read. Like, I'm way up there. Okay, people, you're gonna get real hyped for this. A lot of people have been wondering, when is it gonna happen? Come on already, man. This is taking too long. And we finally know what's going on with Kaiju number 8. In particular, it says Kaiju number 8, aka Monster number 8, is getting a TV anime adaptation. It has been announced basically as of June 19, 2022. We don't have a date on when it's going to be released or anything, but this was a surefire, only a matter of time type of situation. Like, Kaiju number 8 has been so freaking ridiculously popular, so much so that even in this article right here, not only do we got the big announcement, hey, an anime is coming, let's freaking go, but also the fact that Kaiju number 8 has reached 7.8 million copies in circulation. Just think about that for a second. Almost 8 million copies, no anime adaptation, and still really popular even right now. I wouldn't be surprised though if what they're going to try to do with this one, which I'm starting to not like it, but it is what it is. The manga probably won't go that much longer because it looks like they really want to make it that the anime continues on and becomes its own thing after a time, and they let the manga go. So if you're a Kaiju number 8 manga fan, and just in general, start keeping an eye out and an ear out for this stuff when they start announcing anime adaptations. It almost feels like the TikTok, so to speak, and I'm not talking about the social media app, of the lifespan of your series is on at that point. So Kaiju number 8 getting an anime announcement. Let's just say it gets announced now. Maybe we'll see it spring 2023, the latest, I'm guessing. At that point, then it's just a countdown of, yo, how much longer the manga is gonna go in. Kaiju number 8 is a great freaking series. I've called it many times the spiritual successor to Attack on Titan. It just has that feel. It got the giant monsters, and also I love the fact that the main character is a little bit older. I believe he's like 30, 31 years old. Like, it just works so freaking well with Kaiju number 8. And yeah, an anime and almost 8 million copies sold with, like, how many volumes are there? I want to say there's what, 6, 7, maybe 8 max. It's like, oh man, salute to the Kaiju, baby, and salute to all the fans in general, because we've been waiting for this one for a while now. I think I talked about Kaiju number 8 for the first time like 3 years ago. Let's go. I'm lying, it might have been 2. I think it was 2020. I don't know. Then another update from Shihei Lin, the editor of Chainsaw Man and many other really awesome stuff, Spy Family, all that good stuff. First of all, Shihei Lin, you have played with our emotions for this one for a while now, and I get it. It's a business. I get it. There's other works, and don't get me wrong, you haven't disappointed per se, because Tatsuki Fujimoto, every time there's been an announcement like, yo, he's doing something else, it's always been like, oh, but it's great. It may not be Chainsaw Man, but it's look back. It's amazing. It may not be Chainsaw Man, but it's Goodbye Eddie. It'll make you cry and change your life. It's amazing. So I can't really necessarily go at Shihei Lin and say, yo, dog, you've been messing with us. But in terms of wanting that Chainsaw Man 2, yeah, I'm waiting, dog. And he recently came out and said, the editor of Chainsaw Man, tomorrow I will be happy to announce the latest information on Tatsuki Fujimoto's work. We will inform you about the time when the date changes. Stay tuned. And this was yesterday. So as of the recording of this video, probably there might be an announcement of, hey, this is what's happening. This is Tatsuki Fujimoto's next move. Considering the fact that they've been saying that, yeah, he's on Chainsaw Man 2, I'd imagine that update is going to be about Chainsaw Man 2. And honestly, it would be perfect to drop Chainsaw Man 2 first chapter around October when Chainsaw Man's anime. The hype will blow the hell through the water of Chainsaw Man anime and Chainsaw Man 2. Let's see, but I'm really hoping for that, because otherwise, Shihei Lin, you dog. We want Chainsaw Man 2 already. I miss my Denji, okay? I miss my, well, I can't even go into that without getting into spoilers, but yeah. Shihei Lin, we're watching, we're waiting, we're hoping. Quickly, let's talk more Dragon Ball Superhero Films success or lack thereof, because somebody did the calculations and it says here that Dragon Ball Superhero crosses the 1 billion yen mark. That's not $1 billion, 1 billion yen at the Japanese box office. And by the way, the other day people were clowning on me because I messed up and I was calling everything 100,000. Y'all know what I meant at the end of the day. Relax. At the Japanese box office after a week of its release. For comparison though, Battle of Gods hit 1 billion in 5 days, Resurrection F hit 1 billion in 6 days, and Broly did it in 3. So pretty much it took over double the time of what it took Broly for Dragon Ball Superhero's film to hit that mark. And I'm gonna be honest with you, because I see a lot of people caping for it, and don't get me wrong, I'm very excited for this film. My whole perspective after seeing a lot of what's to come with this film has changed. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm not thrilled about 3D CG, but I'm looking forward to it for the most part. However, you gotta call a spade, because people are caping and saying that, oh, it was released in limited theaters. Well, yo, dog, that don't mean shit. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba's Mugen Train film, at the height of the pandemic, #1 grossing Japanese film out there. At the end of the day, there's no excuse. I don't want to hear that it was in limited theaters. Why was it in limited theaters? Because not that many theaters were rushing to get it and probably didn't want to get it, and at the end of the day knew it wasn't going to be a big hitter. Like, at the end of the day, most of us called to begin with. This is pretty much one of the least successful opening weeks for a Dragon Ball film. I know they want to sweep it under the rug, give excuses or whatever. Y'all can do all of that, but the facts are the facts, and that's that. Yeah, the 3D CG whole idea, the lack of marketing towards the things that people want, them going a different direction of trying to be family friendly and all that jazz, has backfired and showcased that at the very least on opening it's not doing great. That's not to say that the back end won't be bigger than if they would have just contributed straight up to, hey, we want the battle heads. Like, if they would have marketed this thing from rip off of like, yo, Cell returns or whatever the heck is going to happen in this film, then it would have been a different story. I think the turnout would have been humongous for the most part, but because it's not until leaks and last minute things and everything has been marketed towards just family friendly stuff, it's going to tank at the start. But there's a huge possibility for major success on the back end with, you know, TV deals, Blu-rays, all that stuff, because of the family friendly thing where they could penetrate markets that Dragon Ball probably couldn't have prior to this, because it's like, oh, that's the fighting shit, right? Yeah, look, the trailer shows him just throwing big blasts. When you put it in a different light of, no, hey, look, it's the alien and he's taking care of the little girl that is like a granddaughter to him and shit like that, it's a different ball game and it could go in different directions. So while it's probably not doing the greatest, and it is tanking off rip, I think on the back end it could be a whole new avenue for Dragon Ball and a whole new section of fandom that it couldn't reach to begin with. So yeah, we got to be honest, it's not doing good as any of the previous films in the last decade or so, but that doesn't mean that it won't do big on the grand scheme of things down the road. I'm imagining Toei Animation planned for all this, because just like, for example, taking a manga like Chainsaw Man and putting in a Shonen Jump, that was so daring of them, like, oh my god, something so crude. They're trying to go after different markets, spy family friendly, they want to do that, and I think that's where they're going with Dragon Ball, and the back end might be bigger, but as it stands right now, no, it is definitely a flop in comparison to the previous films. And it doesn't matter about limited releases, because if they really wanted, they would put it in all the theaters that they possibly can. That's the whole point, make money. So yeah, we gotta call a spade a spade. It's not doing well. Let's see what it does in the West though, because I think the West is still going to try and, you know, save the day, so to speak. I know I'm excited about the Gohan and Piccolo related stuff, and that's the main reason why I'm running to the theater come August. Yo, I just saw this one and I don't care. I gotta throw it in, even if it's just a small story or whatever. But I've been seeing this everywhere, that Japan makes cyberbullying punishable up to 1 year in jail. According to this report straight off of CNN at that, this is what spurred this whole thing on. Japan makes online insults punishable by 1 year in prison in wake of reality TV star's death. Japan's parliament on Monday passed legislation making online insults punishable by imprisonment, and rising public concern over cyberbullying sparked by the suicide of a reality TV star who had faced social media abuse. Under the amendment to the country's penal code set to take effect later this summer, offenders convicted of online insults can be jailed for up to 1 year or fined about $2,200, and a significant increase from the existing punishments of detention for fewer than 30 days and a fine of up to 10,000 yen, $75. The bill proved controversial in the country, with opponents arguing it would impede free speech and criticism of those in power. However, supporters said the tougher which is realistically probably what they wanted to do, because it helps a lot of these marketing campaigns. They don't care about, and it's sad and it's fucked up, but it's the reality. They don't care about that reality star that did that. They're just like, yo, when we're going and we're pushing this legislation or we're pushing the campaign trail and we want to say some wild things, we don't want to get bullied and criticized. We don't want this smudge on our names. Let's put in this law that'll stop that shit. And that's just the cold hard facts about the world and politics and all of that above. Like, they don't care realistically. That's just an excuse for them them to push forth their agenda. It was only passed after a provision was added, ordering the law be re-examined 3 years after it goes into effect to gauge its impact on freedom of expression. Under Japan's penal code, insults are defined as publicly demeaning someone's social standing without referring to specific facts about them or a specific action, according to a spokesperson from the Ministry of Justice. The crime is different to defamation, defined as publicly demeaning someone while pointing to specific facts. Honestly, it sounds just like the same shit, whatever. But yeah, pretty much this is going to shake things up. I think one of the biggest things that could change all of that, especially like so they don't ever try to adopt stuff like that over here in the West, is I think social media needs to start having people be held accountable in terms of it should be a mandatory thing that online period you have to be you have to be your name, whether it be your government ID or whatever the case may be. I feel like you have to be yourself online. This whole anonymity thing has to be a thing of the past in order to stop and decrease the amount of cyberbullying and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to completely diminish it. People will always find a way. Assholes will be assholes, and that's just the way it is. But I definitely think that would help a lot of people that they feel brave, like, yo, they're never gonna know it's me, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, once that's a thing of the past and it's like, no, they're gonna know it's you, a lot of people that are pussies will stop being pussies and just sit back in the corner and shut the fuck up. And I say that as somebody for the last 12 years that have had people shit on me for no reason time and time again, that, you know, say whatever they want. But let me know what you think about that. Do you feel that that is justified, that they should be going that route of punishing people with prison for insults? I feel like, yo, just make it that people have to be themselves online. Like, you cannot put fake names. You can't be Greg Border 88 times that. Like, you gotta be you. And let's round this bad boy off with an update from the staff of the Vinland Saga anime, going from basically Studio Wit to Studio Mappa. There was an update recently saying the following: it was my personal matter that I transferred to Mappa, and our team had to leave the previous studio regardless of my transfer. The release of my team wasn't planned in advance, and at that point we had already started production for season 2 while keeping almost the same team. If there is no prospect of continuing production, the team will have to be dissolved. However, once it is dissolved, it's not sure when we'll be able to gather the same creators again. We need to find the next production base urgently to keep the team, and of the several options, Mappa made the quickest decision. At that time, my transfer had been decided, so I think it's one of the reasons why they decided. But more than that, they respected the work of our team and had an understanding of the significance of keeping our team. Also, if the team wasn't released, I was planning to direct this title in a previous studio as an employee of Mappa. So essentially, this dude was making this Vinland Saga season 2 happen one way or another, and on top of that, it was either, hey, we go and we do this thing at Mappa, or there's no Vinland Saga season 2. I will take that, and I will take, yeah, give me my Vinland Saga season 2 at a different studio that may look slightly different, but you got, for the most part, the same people, opposed to no more Vinland Saga. That would be lame as hell. I would not want that. So shout outs to that dude. He sounds like a real leader. He honestly was thinking about his people, thinking about the future of this series. Like, really, really awesome dude, this animator that is, you know, making sure that Vinland Saga season 2 happens one way or another. Salute. But that's all I have for this episode. Curious what you guys think. Most important story, favorite story, something I didn't talk about, and you're like, come on, Fornev, why you ain't talk about that? Let me know. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and you guys just watched another episode of Forever News. Have an awesome day. Subscribe and hit that bell, lads.
You are what I know, so just go to find me.